Hi guys, it's Miss Erwin again, coming to you for our second week of classes that you're supposed to be doing your schoolwork at home. Hope everything's going well with that. I talked to several of you this week on the phone. I've been emailing back and forth with some of you, and I love doing that. I hope more of you will send me an email this week. Today, I'm going to talk to you about some things that you can do when you're finished with your schoolwork. A lot of the parents that I talked to told me that their kids were ahead, that they had already gotten a few days ahead on their schoolwork. And so there's a lot of other things that you can do to keep up with school and keep up with your learning, even if it's not those packets of work that we sent home. And I talked to you last week about some stuff to do, and I had one student send me a picture of her STEM activity that she completed with toothpicks, and instead of using mini marshmallows, she used jelly beans. If you do any fun things at home and want to send me a picture, I would love to see them. So this is the week before Easter, and something I usually do at school the couple of weeks before Easter is bring in some plastic Easter eggs. So you may have some plastic Easter eggs like these at home that you just might have a fun Easter egg hunt with your family, and I hope you do. But sometimes I use these in class, and what I would do the couple of weeks before Easter is just fill all of these eggs with different activities. And when the kids would get finished with whatever the assignment was for the day, they could go get an Easter egg and look on the inside and see what activity is in there for them to do in the classroom. Some of them that you could do at home would be journaling activities. I've talked to you about how I want the kids to keep up with their writing. So this is a great fun way that you can incorporate just something different that has to do with spring and Easter. And the kids can go get an Easter egg when they're finished with whatever their assignment is for today, or if you're finished with your assignments. And they just open those up, and you might have some journal prompts in there. This one says write a poem about a gloomy day. We have a lot of rainy days in April. Got some rainy days coming up this week. And the fourth graders have written some poems this year, so they know all about writing poetry. So maybe they could start a journal where they write something in their journal every day. Up here on the computer screen, I've got some journal activities that I want to show you. This is something that I looked up on the internet. It's just some journal activities for the month of April. You could type in journal activities for fourth graders or something like that. This just gives you a journal idea for each day. You could get a notebook or just some paper stapled together and start a journal. I know we're already a few days into April, but that's okay. This would also be a good idea to use to cut up to put in your plastic Easter eggs if you wanted to. There's some cute journal ideas on here. One says something like, what would you hear, see, smell, taste, and touch on a spring day? Another one says, tell about one of your best friends and a talent they have and how they would use that talent to help others. Right now, it's a good time to think about helping others and think about your best friends that you might be missing a little bit from school. So I hope you might be interested in starting doing a journal activity each day. That's a good way to keep up your writing skills. Some other fun things you can do with the plastic Easter eggs is just put some different activities in them, like have a picnic out in the front yard, or go on a short walk, go outside and see if you can identify 3 different birds. You can put these activities in the eggs, and each day let the kids draw out a different activity that you can do for that day, plus the journal writing prompts, and those just might give you a little bit of fun this week before Easter. Last week I talked to you about writing a friendly letter, and several of you have written me emails, and I love that. And some of you are even using the correct writing format. I'm just going to show you the format for writing a friendly letter, and when we correspond back and forth between email, I want you to try to use this format. Okay, last week I told you that I would show you about writing a friendly letter, and most of you are using the right format whenever you're emailing me, but just a few things I'd like to talk to you about. When you write a friendly letter, you always include the date in the upper right hand corner. You don't have to do that so much with an email because it already has the date on there for you, but you could just practice that, writing the month, the date, and the year, and always making sure that you put a comma between that day or the date and the year. And then you write your greeting. Your greeting is when you're telling who you're writing your letter to. So if you're writing to me, it's going to say, Dear Miss Erwin. Make sure that you use a capital D for dear and always a capital for people's names. And then there's a comma that goes after the greeting also. When you get into writing the body of your letter, always make sure you indent, just like you do when we write essays at school. Indent and start with a capital letter. And then write the body of your letter. Sometimes, you may want to have 1 or 2 paragraphs in a letter. Maybe not in an email to me, but if you do have 2 paragraphs, make sure you go to the next line and indent. When you get finished with your letter, you want to come over to the right side of the bottom of your letter for your closing. Your closing will have something like miss you or sincerely or your friend or your student, and you always put a comma after that. Like in this letter, it says from, and it has a comma after it. And then underneath it is where you'll put your signature, and it should line up right underneath your closing. And you put your signature, which is just your name, and make sure that that has a capital letter too. So the most important things are remembering where to put your commas in your date, in your greeting, and in your closing. And just get a lot of practice. So you're getting some practice writing friendly letters, but also typing emails. So both of that is good experience for you. So this week, try to send me an email. I would love to hear from you. I hope I hear from you all this week. I hope I see some more pictures of things that you're doing at home. If you're doing any of these STEM activities or reading a good book, or maybe you go outside and take some pictures of some birds or some flowers, and send those to me on the email attachment with your letter. I would love to see those. I hope you have a great week, and I hope you have a happy Easter, and I'll make a video next week on Monday. See you then.